here with Jeff Broom at the Colorado Guitar Company, right on South Santa Fe Boulevard, right across from Arapahoe Community College. And by a happy circumstance, both Jeff and I teach at ACC. I just ran into him, found out he's a John Fahey aficionado, just like I am. And Jeff, I understand that you actually have a more personal connection with John Fahey. Why don't you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, Steve, it was interesting. When I was in college, I shifted my music when I heard Fahey. I got rid of everything but Fahey's music, and I listened to that exclusively for a couple of years. And during that time, I wrote him. I was trying to get him to come play at the college, so I wanted information. And he took a friendship to me. He wrote me back, and we started a series of correspondence and letters. And I went to graduate school down in Texas in 1975-76. He called me a couple of times. He talked to me for like an hour and a half. And I get these long letters. I just dug out 3 of them this morning. One of them's 18 pages long. And he was a philosophy of religion major like I was. And so he shared a lot of ideas about life and all that, and so I got to know him. I finally met him in 1985. Actually, I met him on my 21st birthday in '73, and spent about an hour with him. That was the first time I met him face to face. He was playing at the Oxford Hotel.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know John Fahey, he's a sort of the main proponent of the American fingerstyle guitar, sometimes called American primitive guitar, and he takes a lot of his inspiration from roots and blues music, but really made it his own. And if you've ever seen him or ever heard his music, you know he's sort of a one-of-a-kind guy. In many ways, he's not only a unique musician, but also sort of a character too.
Oh, he was.
I remember seeing him play a number of times, and he's just off in his own world.
He was. He had a way to turn off all people inviting him back.
Yeah. Well, I read online. Of course, I will admit that I can't verify this as truth, but he was performing in London, and after the first set, he got up and said, "Well, I think I'm going to go home now."
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
When I met him on my birthday, there were 2 shows, and there was like a half-hour break between the shows so they could clear out one audience for the other, and I had tickets for both. And somebody came out, I was waiting, and said, "Mr. Fahey will see you now," because he knew I was coming. So they took me back to a back room, and I sat with him. He changed strings on the guitar. He was about an hour and 15, an hour and a half late for the second show, all because he was talking to me.
Yeah, well, you did have to put up with a little bit of character. I remember he was mostly drunk when I saw him play. He did have a drinking problem.
Yeah,
I do believe,
yeah.
And he died at a fairly early age. Unfortunately, I think he was 61.
61.
Yeah, you know, every once in a while I'll play out and I'll play some Fahey tunes, and somebody will come up to me and say, "Oh, thanks for playing John Fahey. You never hear that stuff played anymore." And you know, so there's a fan base out there, and it's you know, I won't say his stuff is easy to play, but because it's so elementary, it's not got a fancy left hand, and of course the right hand, the finger picking, is a little complex. But we'll play a tune here, which is actually, I think, pretty easy to learn how to play.
Yeah.
Some summer day.
Summer day.
Yeah, you want to start it off? So yeah, Some Summer Day. That's one of the first ones I've learned.
Fahey wrote that when he was 17 years old.
No kidding.
We realized just the creativity he had in him to do that. Standard tuning, and he's the one that pioneered the open tuning stuff. And you had mentioned this stuff's pretty elementary to play. So's Mississippi John Hurt, but then play like Mississippi John Hurt.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And if you put a scale of for finger style, 1 to 5, and 5 is the most difficult.
Yeah.
Leo Kottke's hardest stuff,
Right.
Fahey's in a 2 or 3 category mode. Most of his stuff in 3, some of it in 2.
Yeah.
But the feel in it, the feel is. You had said something when we were talking earlier. There's a spirituality to his music.
Right.
There's a connection to the universe that comes out. You've got to get the music inside you, but if you get it inside you, there's a real beauty.
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching the show, and if you play and you'd like to be on the show, or if you know somebody who might like to be, or if you know of a venue that you think might be a good one for us to come down and shoot, why don't you contact us at the email address you see on the screen, and we'd love to have you on.